Hi, a pleasant morning, a pleasant afternoon, and especially a pleasant evening to all of you who might be watching this video of us discussing the different topics of the different chapter as well. So, before I may forget, um, may I introduce to you our group? So we are the group 2 and we're going to present to you this following topic. So in chapter 10, we're going to discuss with you the topic of intermediate term financing. In chapter 11, we're going to discuss with you also the topic of the capital markets. For the chapter 12, we're going to discuss with you the securities market topic. And lastly, for the chapter 3, we're going to discuss with you the leasing topics. So those are the topic that you will later on encounter within this video. First is the chapter 10's content, which includes the introduction for intermediate term, the advantages of intermediate term, and the different kinds of institution that offers intermediate term and so on. So let's focus first on the term for or the definition of intermediate terms. So when we say intermediate terms, it refers to a short period of time for such kind of activities, especially in business, in where it involves in borrowing monies for capitals. So let's move on to the definition of financing. So when we say financing, it is a process of handling or raising funds or capitals for such kinds of expenditure, especially in business. It might be personal or for business matters kind of expenditure. So let's connect the two term. So it is now intermediate term financing. So when we say intermediate term financing, it refers to a process of borrowing with repayment schedules that is more than 1 years rather, and less than 10 years. So that is the definition of intermediate term financing. So the advantages of intermediate term financing is that it is flexible, it is convenient for payment, it is alternative, tax efficient, and cost effective um, for those borrowers. So that is for the advantages of intermediate term. So those advantages helps the businessmen to have an easy access for acquiring or borrowing such monies without any hassle. So this kind of intermediate term is applicable for those young bloom businesses that needs enough capital to grow more. So that is for the advantages. Let's move on to the different kinds of private institution that provides this kind of terms. So we have the private commercial banks, the pre-need companies, the finance financial corporation, and also um, the pre-need company. So term loan. When we say term loan is a monetary loan with repaid of regular payments over a set period of time. So the term loan has three types, which are the straight term loan, revolving credit, and the evergreen credit. So straight term loan is a loan which require the borrowers to pay the interest only until the maturity date. So the borrower does not make payments for the principal or the amount that they have borrowed up until the maturity date. So they are required only to pay the interest. So straight term loan, in the other hand, is a is an interest loan only. So let's move on to the revolving credit. So what is revolving credit? Revolving credit allows the businessman to spend all the credit limit. So when we say credit limit, the example if this one is if the borrower has a credit limit of 10,000 pesos, so the and the borrower uses only or consume only or even spend only 2,000, then he or she can use or spend the 8,000 more. And then if he or she pays back the 2,000, then she can still the or borrows 10,000 again. So that is the revolving. From the word itself, revolving. So the borrower can borrow monies without expiration as long as it will not exceed to its limit only. So that is for the revolving. So let's move on to the evergreen credit. So evergreen credit is a revolving agreement in where it is a combination of straight term loan and revolving credit. So it is an interest only, but it has no maturity date. So the best thing of this term loan is that it allows the borrower to repay, to borrow anytime, as long as they have the contract, as long as the lender knows it, or they follow the contract or the agreement that the lender put in their contract. So that is for the evergreen. So let's move on to the term loan agreement. Agreement is a kind of binding contract between two or more parties or businessmen which approves the borrowing monies or taking loans. So in this agreement, it involves the conditions or the responsibilities that the borrower must follow or must better understand before they have the loan that they needed.
Equal principal payment. The installment are unequal, however, because the interest payment is largest and the first year becomes smaller as the principal is currently paid. Example sa equal principal payment. Kana bitaw mga pautang niya makabalo sila kana sa sila mo bayad or kana sa sila mo impas niya imbis na ilang utang magkadako per year magkagamay na hinuon. Equal amortization. This loan is repaid in equal installment under this type repayment. The amount applied to principal is smallest in the first year, then the same payment to principal gradually increased through the payment years, the largest which is made on the last year. Kani siya kay opposite ni siya sa equal principal payment. Kay ang equal principal payment kay magagamay niya ang kani kay magkadako per year. So mo kanay kalahian nila. Balloon payment. Under the repayment program, the loan is repaid in equal installment of a number of years. Then a large and final payment is made at maturity date. For example, sa balloon payment, example kay gasabot sila nga kana nga year dapat maimpas na ang utang, pero tagabuwan wala sila sure kung pila ang ibayad, dako ba or gamay, as long as mo bayad lang. Mao na ka kuan sa balloon payment, as long as lang makuha nila ma-impas nila sa kana nga year sa ilang gisabutan. Deferred payment of principal with grace period. The payment of principal under the program is deferred. Although the payment is interest are made in the repayment program suit loan to finance project with long gestion period like new orchard project and livestock project. So kani gamit kayo ni sa mga tao nga daghan kayo problema, daghan kayo bayron nun, kay bisan unsa pa kadugay sila mo bayad, wala gid sila penalty nga madawat.
What is lending? The lending allows someone else to borrow something in terms of business and finance. So, simply, kung sa Bisaya pa is pautang. So, it's either ay pautang kay money, property, or another asset given by the lender to the borrower with the expectation that ang borrower kay mo return sa asset or mo repay sa iyang gihuwam. So, lending often occurs in context of taking loan. Like, for example, ganang mga pa 5-6, Card Inc., Pag-asa. So, we have term lending by insurance companies. The premium generated constitute advances to the insurance companies for periods varying from 6 months or more years. So, kani siya mga companies nga nag-offer og mga insurance. So, example sa mga insurances kay na we have life insurance, health insurance, car insurance, educational plan, retirement plan. So next is the lending by finance companies. Lending by finance companies is common practice that involves providing loans to individuals or business in exchange for interest payments. So kani expectation naman jud na sa mga kanang utang-utang no naman jud na yung mga interest. So kaning lending by finance companies more on more on business ni siya. So kani sila nga mga companies is kanang nagpalend sila, pautang sila mga kanang pang working capital or pang purchase og mga machinery for the business. So next is term loans by the government. So simply, so ang government nag-offers og mga programs to support the needs of individuals, business, and para sa atong community. So, government financial institutions have become regular source of intermediate loans. Among them are the land banks.
So, good morning, everyone. We will be moving on the chapter 11, the capital market. So, the contents of this chapter, the first one is the capital market defined, components of the capital market, the cost of capital, basic terms defined and discussed, securities offering in the capital market, and lastly, the underwriting and selling of firms. For the first topic that will be tackled is the savers. So the savers are those consisting of individuals, families, or households who do not intend to exercise entirely their ability to spend. So, savers in business finance is typically refers to individuals that save or invest their money in a bank. So, for example, ako. So, I am depositing my money in a bank for my savings account. So, you can call me as savers or I'm acting as a saver. So, saver is also known as lenders. They are the suppliers of funds for the borrowers. So, kinsa man ni si borrowers? So, ang mga borrowers are organization, constitution, or the government. So, si government baron ay kay mo borrow sa akong money sa bank para gamito nila sa ilang project or activities sa ilang organization. So, as a lender or saver in a bank, so nanghulaman si government sa akong money. So, mag-expect ko na nakoy ma-earn, which is what we call the interest. So, what takibaw, ibutang ba nato karon 1% or 2% bang atong makuha na interest sa kana na specific na giborrow sa government. So, investors consist of individuals wanting to purchase an asset or capital goods with the object of obtaining benefits from such purchase. So, ang investors kay it is an individual that puts their money into a business, or they purchase an asset For example, gi-invest ba nila ron ang ilang money sa Jollibee, McDonald, or KFC? So, dito sila makakuha og benefit or makakollect sila dito og financial return. So, the financial system works by providing intermediation between the suppliers or credit, the savers, the users of credit, individuals, and business firms. So, the intermediaries consist of financial institutions, which in turn are tapped by the borrowers for their financing requirements. So, si financial system mo work siya as a or say mo stand as a head na mag-provide og settlement. So si financial system kay siya ang mo assist sa process which the money has been invested in a bank between the savers and the business firms. So these institutions are sometimes referred to as financial market. So gitawag ni sila kaning mga institution og financial market. So financial market is any marketplace where the trading of securities occurs or take place. So for example, si bank and any institutions whereas the investors or lenders and the borrowers, which is the governments baron companies kay magka-interact with each other. So diri sila kaning financial market, diri sila mag-signing og contract to invest in an asset or borrow a money. So financial market are classified into two. So the first one is the capital market and the second one is the money market. So capital market. So the capital market is that portion of the financial market which deals with longer term loanable funds, while the money market deals with short term funds. So nganong kanang makig-deal raman si capital market og longer term loanable funds? What is the reason? So si capital market manggod kay this where trading, lending, and borrowing takes place for financial securities like bonds and stocks. So the capital market kay ang iyang instrument is longer nagigamit. So si capital market kay do not have a stipulated time frame. So wala sila gaset na time frame kung kanas ka pwede kung asa ka pwede kutob mo invest or kung asa kutob imong contract na giborrow ron. While example contract na mo-borrow kag money, so kanina time period of time kay dapat mabayaran na nimo. So wala sila nag-set og ginana kay longer man ang ilahang ang instrument na gigamit sa kaning capital market. While sa money market kay maong mag-deal ra siya sa short-term funds. It is because kanang in money market it only provides financing to traders who are in urgent need of funds. So dinalian na kuan lang investment or borrowing dinalian. So in money market the financial instrument has a time frame. So na time period. So so ang time period sa money market is generally only up to 1 year or less. So kada na time period kay dapat mahuman na nimo og bayad ba ng imong contract about sa imong giborrow na money or dira ra ka kana na time frame maka invest or maka borrow og money. So components of the capital market. So the capital market is composed of three parts, which is the bond market, the mortgage market, and the third one is the stock market. So bond market. So the bond market for debt instrument of any kind is called bond market. So si bond market is the marketplace for debt securities that are bought and sold. So sa bond market, it when such a or government or corporation issues a bond, it is specifically borrowing money from investors. So in bond market, it 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 literally called it refers to borrowing money from investors. So it represents a form of borrowing. So mao ni si bond market. So trading in the bond market is primarily done over the counter. So OTC. So what do you mean by OTC? So OTC, or the over the counter, is the method of trading between two parties that is facilitated by a dealer network or broker. So kaning si broker mo ni siya ang mo-facilitate sa kaning duha ka company para nindot ang transaction. So si broker is an individual, an agent in a bank that assists, that provides assistance to have a smooth transaction. So in OTC market, kanang risky na siya na kuan kind of market, kind of trade kay sa kamong duha ka market kay directly ra inyong pag trading sa inyong bonds or securities. Wala na may further explanation o further planning, largo na mo og trading sa inyong mga bonds and securities. Maong kanang risky siya paminawon. No, kanang risky gid siya nabuhat kay kuan dili na ka maka-collect og reliable information about sa mga i-provide na stocks or securities sa katong imong ka-trade na market. So the second one is the mortgage market. So the mortgage market is that portion of the capital market which deals with loans on residential, commercial, and industrial real estate and on farmland rather. So from the word loans on residential, commercial, and industrial real estate, it talks about the land or investment in home or securing a land for your personal usage. So mortgage market is specifically a loan to purchase or invest a home or land to secure your own property. So in kuan sa mortgage market, kanang siya mo facilitate sa flow sa fund between the borrowers who is seeking to purchase real estate and the lenders who provides the funds. Mga lenders katong sila ay mag-provide of funds kanang money para mahulman ni borrower, which is kanang kita mga individual para atong kanang i-invest para makakuha tag house and lot baron or a land for our personal usage. So the third one is the stock market. So the stock market is that portion of the capital market where the common and preferred stocks issued by corporations are traded. So in stock market, so siya ang mo serve as a financial system. So sa stock market, siya ang mag-provide siya og kanang platform for companies and investors so that didto sila sa kato na platform kay mag-buy sila og sell sa ilahang stocks and securities na ma-provide each. So stock market has two components. So the first one is the organized exchange and the second one is the less formal over-the-counter market. So the organized exchange is it centralized marketplace kung asa ang securities and stocks kung asa ang securities ug stocks mabot and sold. So from the word centralized, so naay process, no? So centralized is the process that involves planning and decision making sa mga head. So ang mga head may mag-provide og plan og decision making so that nindot ang outcome sa kanang trading. So in the organized exchange, so mo takes place sila. So ang isa, for example, ang C1 company 1 og C2 company 2. So magsabot sila kanang mag-meet up sila sa isa ka place, then kato na place didto sila sabot, magplan sa ilahang mga each perspective sa ilahang trading. So that's why gitawag siya centralized market. So the second component is the less formal over the counter market. So sa kaning second component is gitawag siya decentralized marketplace. So katong first component biya katong organized exchange kay gitawag siya centralized. So sa kaning ikaduha gitawag siya decentralized marketplace. Kay ngano man because wala na kayo sila nag-follow sa mga rules, right rules and fundamentals para ma-apply nila sa ilang trading. So in 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 the securities of the less formal over the counter market, the securities are traded directly between the two parties, the C1 o C2 katong si company 1 o company 2. So kung mag transaction gani sila direct ra wala na further kanang planning o decision making sa duha kay largo ra man ilahang trading. Then sa kaning ikaduha na component kay have never been a place, so wala sila nagkuan kanang wala sila nag meet up in person kay ang ilang trading kay gi-facilitated raman by a dealer which is the broker, no? Katong si broker katong sa agent sa bank sumotoy mo assist nila para sa ilang transaction. So mong matawag nato siya na risky kay largo ra ilahang trading, largo ra ilang direct ra ilang trading, wala na further explanation about sa ilang each decision o planning about sa trade. That's why we can call it risky kanang kind of market. So there are many organized exchange throughout the world like the New York and the London stock exchanges. In the Philippines, stocks are openly traded in the Philippine Stock Exchange. So the companies whose stocks are traded in the Philippine Stock Exchange are classified as follows. Kani sila. Kani nasang kilid. Kani. So, the first one is the banks, financial service, kung asa tama ka kanang lukat o kanang financial needs, kanang card. So, communication, power and energy, transportation service, construction and other related products, holding firms, food, beverages, and tobacco, manufacturing, distribution, and trading, hotel, recreation, and other service, bonds, and preferred warrants. So, nganong kasagaran ng mga company is dili man makig-trade sa Philippine Stock Exchange. So, based sa mga known na company is ang offer daw kay convenient and efficient. So, kung dito sila mo takes place sa ilahang trading, so the venue has a huge benefit in raising their capital to support the growth of their business. So mas dako daw possibility na mo-grow ang ilang business kay convenient og efficient ang katuna platform. So si Philippine Stock Exchange is the organization that provides and ensures a fair, efficient, orderly market for the buying and selling of stocks and securities. So maka-ensure gid ka na nindot ang flow sa transaction diri sa kanina platform. The cost of capital. So it measures the cost that a business incurs to finance its operations. So from the word incurs to finance its operations, it is the process of providing funds sa imong business like mag-invest ba karon sa isa ka butang or mag-purchase kag isa ka butang para sa mo-grow ang imong business. So kaning si cost of capital sa business is mo ang total expenses sa individual or business owner na iyang gigamit para sa iyang business. So natay example ani, so kung nakita niyo there or derivative na part, so it is a computation of the various alternatives available for the funding of 100 million peso capital requirement. So nakita na to dre is kaning table 1, kaning so column 1 is the alternative, which is the alternative 1, 2, 3, 4. The second one is sa gross income. Na dre si short term debt, si long term debt, preferred stocks, cost of capital ug si net profit. So from the first one, the first alternative, ang gross income niya is 170 million. So nganong na million man ni? So imo rin emerge ang kaning naa sa taas kaning tulo ka zero, I mean 6 ka zero sa taas sa gross income. So unsa man ni si gross income? So si gross income is the amount of your business earns from selling goods or service. So kanang si gross income kay mo na ang mga mo nang income sa isa ka individual without kanang deductions pa. So wala pa gideduct ang mga taxes o mga other expenses na nagamit nimo sa imong business. So mo na yung overall sales income nimo if you are a kanang business owner. While si short term debt kay kanang diri sa short term debt kay kanang higher ang interest rate niya. So what do we mean by this? So if higher ang interest rate, so naay kanang higher tendency na maga-cost ni sa ang imong investment na mo fall. So mag kanang ang flow sa money sa imong business kay mo low og naay tendency, naay possibility na low sa ding imong income. While sa long-term debt kay also higher sad ang interest rate risk ani niya. So nasa din siya liquidity risk. So I have said earlier kung higher ang interest rate, so na big huge possibility na it can cause sa imong value of your investment na mo fall. So preferred stocks. So si preferred stocks mo ni ang mga mo ni siya ang diri sa preferred stocks kanang it offers higher fixed income payment. So tungod kay higher fixed income payment man siya, mas dako tag ma-income niya or mas less ang risk niya unlike sa long term o short term. So diri sa cost of capital, I mean preferred stocks kanang na siya gitawag na fixed dividends. So kaning si fixed dividends kay mo na siya motabang ay mo ni ang mga mo ni ang individual. So si fixed dividends, it is the distribution of a company's earnings to its shareholders. So it is the way of the company na i-share nila ang kanang ilang mga na-earn na money. So by kanang interest baron. So kaning si fixed dividend mo ni ang mga individual na nag-own o at least one share of a company's stock. So cost of capital, so i-dictate na nako earlier. And lastly is net profit. So unsa man ni sa net profit? So kaning sa net profit mo ni ang total expenses or total na kanang ginansya na imong nakuha. So sa diri sa net profit humana og deduct ang mga humanag deduct og humana ang mga subtraction of taxes and other kana expenses na imong nagamit sa imong kanang business. So si gross income kay maumontang total kuan mo no kanang total sale income without deductions pa of taxes. So kaning si net profit humanag deduct ang mga taxes niya. So sa first alternative naa siya gross income na 170 million. Tapos kaning individual gibutang niya ang iyang capital fund 100% sa short-term debt. Wala siya gibutang sa long-term debt o wala siya gibutang sa preferred stocks. So ang result, ang iyang cost of capital is 20 million. While iyang net profit, iyang total na ganansya is 10 million. So the second alternative, iyang gross income kay the same 170 million. Then wala siya gibutang sa short-term debt, 0. But dito niya gibutang sa long-term debt. So wala siya gibutang sa preferred stocks. So ang iyang cost of capital is 17 million while the net profit is 13 million. The third alternative, the same 170 million gross income, wala siya gibutang sa short-term debt, wala siya gibutang sa long-term debt. So dito niya gibutang tanan 100% sa preferred stocks. So ang iyang cost of capital is 10 million while iyang net profit, iyang total na ginansya is 20 million. So mas dako sa iyang cost of capital, yung mga nagamit na expenses. So lastly, sa alternative 4, the same 170 million gross income. So sa kaning alternative 4 is gitunga-tunga niyang iyang capital funding. Gibutang niya sa tulo ka buok na capital funding combination, which is the short-term debt. Gibutang niya dito iyang expenses 33%. Sa long-term debt nagbutang siya 33%, the same as the short-term, while sa preferred stocks is 34%. So ang result is iyang cost of capital is 16 million, while iyang ginansya, the net profit, the total is 14 million. So lugi gyapon siya kay mas dako iyang na pagawas or nagamit na money para sa business. So question, what is the best alternative of source of money ani kaning upat ka alternative? So the best alternative source of financing is the alternative 3. Why? Because diri man niya gibutang sa preferred stocks. So it means na mas higher ang iyang income na madawat kay fixed income payments naman ang naadri sa preferred stocks. Then as we can see, ang cost of capital niya is 10 million. So cost of capital is katong mga kanang expenses na iyang nagamit para mga funds na iyang nagamit para sa iyang business. So as we can see there, mas dako ang iyang net profit, iyang ginansya kaysa sa iyang napagawas or nagamit na money para sa iyang business. So the best alternative source of financing is the alternative 3.
Basic terms defined and discussed. Corporate securities. Corporate securities is a financial instrument issued by companies to raise funds like stocks and bonds. Types of security: fixed interest, variable interest, etc. What constitutes securities? The following are considered securities: bonds, debentures, pension plans, pre-organization certificates of subscription. Primary market is where new securities such as stocks and bonds are initially issued and sold by companies or government entities to raise capital. Primary market kay for example itong mga product nga bag-ong igawas sa public. So kanang mga product nga iyan pagid siya mismo sa company. So si company siya may primary market. Secondary market. Secondary market, it refers to a financial market where previously issued securities such as stocks, bonds, or other financial instruments brought and sold among investors. So, secondary market, for example, sa investors kay ipalit siya og stock kana company. Nya katong stock nga gipalit ni investor sa company, iya pong ibaligya sa lain. So now si investors nga secondary market. Securities offering in the capital market. Firms may obtain long-term capital funds through security offering in the capital market. The source of capital funds may be institutional or non-institutional. The marketing of securities involves the promotion and sale of financial instruments such as stocks and bonds to potential investors. Corporate securities are distributed in two methods: primary distribution and secondary distribution. Primary distribution. The firm securities are sold for the first time to the public. Kanang mga stocks and bonds nga unang gawas mismo sa kanang company. Secondary distribution involves the sale of a sustained security by current shareholders or inventor to other market participants. So, example, si investor ni palit og stocks,
Ya katong yung palit nga stock ay baligyan niya sa lain. So katong stocks nga yung gibaligya ni investor moto siya ang secondary distribution. The investment banker, private placement, individual investors. The investment banker, a financial professional or institution that specializes in facilitating various aspects of the capital raising process for companies and governments. So kani si investment banker kay mo siya mo help or advise sa company kung saan pagpataas sa ilang kapital. Like, na-issue ba sila stocks or bonds sa lain or muwam sila kwarta. The investment banker is expected to perform the following action. First, to investigate the corporation's financial condition and needs. Second, to advise the corporation considering the new issue of securities. Third, to originate new issues. Fourth, to arrange or syndicate distribution. Private placement. The selling of securities by private communication directly to insurance companies, commercial banks, pension funds, large-scale corporation investors, and wealthy individual investors. So kani si private placement is ang company kay mo-issue siya of stocks and bonds diretso sa iyang potential investors. Individual investors. Private individuals who invest their personal funds in financial markets. So katunin siya mga investors nga napagawa sa ilang kaugalingong kwarta. Underwriting and selling the firm's securities. The underwriting of securities may be done using any of the following methods: negotiated underwriting, competitive underwriting, commission sales, direct sales, and firm commitment basis. Negotiated underwriting. The issuing firm and the investment banker meet and agree on the terms and conditions of the underwriting. So, for example is, nag-negotiate ang duha ka company, tas nag-agree sila sa price o condition. Competitive underwriting is similar to the negotiated underwriting except that the underwriting group bids against other underwriting groups for the initial purchase of the securities at the public auction. So, competitive underwriting is pareha niya siya sa negotiated underwriting. Ang nakalahi lang is daghan na involved. Like, magbid pa sila kung asa atong mga companies ang mas maka-advantage sila katoy lang pilion. Commission-based effort basis. Compensation structure commonly used in financial services, especially for securities offering or bond issuance. So kani si commission-based effort basis is, for example, kung pila ma-earn nga money sa company is nakbase kung pila ilang maligya. Direct sale. Sales method where a company sells its products or services directly to the end customer without involving intermediaries or middlemen. So, ang way sa pagulyan is company to company. Di naman lang lalong company o middleman or dealer baron parang balya sa ilang product. Firm commitment basis. It is an underwriting agreement where the investment house agrees to purchase the issue from issuing corporation. So, for example, is si company ganan niya i-public yung product. So, nag-negotiate siya sa laing company para paliton tanan niyang product sa inyanin nga price. So, para katong ni palit siyang product is mono to siya mo baligya ito sa public.
So next is the securities market. So what is securities market? Security market, which securities are issued and purchased by investors and subsequently transferred among investors. So, securities market helps companies raise their funds by making initial sale of the stock to the public. So, securities market has the two components which are the auction type market and the negotiation type market. So, what is the auction type market? So, auction type market which the buyers enter the bids and the seller submits the offers. So, the prices which the stock trades represent the higher price that the buyer is willing to pay and also the lowest price that the seller is willing to accept. So next is the negotiation type market. So negotiation type market exists and function via the basic principle of the supply and demand, which means the prices are bargained between the buyers and the seller. So what is the difference between the auction type market and the negotiation type market? So the difference between the two is that the auction market do not involve like direct negotiation between the individuals and the buyer between the individual buyers and the seller, while a negotiation is that occur for OTC trades. So OTC trades will be discussed in the next slide. So first is the stock exchange where market which securities are bought and sold. So stock exchange is a marketplace where financial securities are issued by companies are bought and sold. So securities market creates an efficient price discovery and efficient dealing. So next is the PSE or Philippine Stock Exchange. So is Philippine Stock Exchange is a private non-profit and non-stock organization. So PSE is a self-regulatory organization that provides and ensures and fair, efficient, and orderly market for the buying and selling of securities. Next is the OTC, which means the over the counter, which the shares are bought and sold directly at a certain prices. That means that the securities that are traded between OTC may be facilitated by a dealer or a broker, especially in the market. So OTC traded without being listed on an exchange. So for example, kay, the trade between two individuals who buy and sell a share of a company nga wala na lista sa stock exchange or PSA. So next is the 5 sectors of the PSE. So ang nader is first is the banks and financial services. So ang kuandri is mga investment company, bangko or mga financials nga company nga related nga gi-offer sa mga bangko. So next is the commercial and industrial. So commercial and industrial refers to the group of residential units. So for example is hotel, telecommunication ug mga holding firms. So next is the property. So property, anything that can be owned by a person. So ang example ani kay land or company nga makaingon ka nga imuha. So next is the mining. So of course mining is a process of extracting a useful materials from earth, right? So unsay ning useful materials nga makuha nimo sa or beneath the earth. So mao ni sila ang like mineral extraction. So unsang mineral nadiri ang gold, rock minerals, and also coal, nasa diri ang iron ore. So ang iron ore mao ni ang kaning metal iron nga na produce like kung unsay nakita nimo sa kuan ipatubo og infrastructure or mga buildings mao na ang metal iron. Lastly kay ang oil. So the substances produced or extracted in association. So unlike sa mining nga mag-extract og gold or mga minerals, oil is not just one asset but it's a very important commodity. So oil is also known as petroleum in the industry. So it includes the global process of exploration, extraction, refining, and also for transportation. So for transportation is oil is really needed, so that's why it's very important.
So there are three middlemen of securities, which are the broker, the dealer, and the salesman. So broker are the one who facilitates the transaction between the trader, the buyer, and the seller. So yung way of pag-trade is through exchange market, which I will discuss later on. The next is the dealer. Dealer are the one who's buying and selling them off as part of their business. So yung way po of pag-trade is through OTC or over-the-counter transaction, which I will discuss later. And the last one is the salesman. So salesman, from the word sales, iyang job is to sell the product or the securities to buyers. And the next topic is the two ways of securities are traded. So there are two ways, which is exchange market and OTC or over-the-counter transaction, which exchange market. So exchange market kay naa siya physical store then nga pagahimuon ang pag-exchange or pag-transact, then adto kay magbid og mag-offer og prices ang mga buyers, then through hand signals, voices, or electronic, then hangtod naay duha ka parties nga magkasinabot sa price, then kung nagkasinabot na sa price kay kuan kana the transaction is executed and communicated throughout the kuan market, so makahibaw tanan sa price nga nasabutan, unlike the OTC. So OTC is mas less formal siya sa exchange market, which exchange market kay gasunod sila og mga patakaran, unlike sa OTC kay mas private ra siya between ra sa buyer and seller, or the dealer or the buyer. Then OTC kay wala siya physical location because it uses only electronics like phone ang ilang communication nya. Diri kay ang dealer kay act as the market maker, which siya man mo'y nagpalit og securities, then iya ra pong gibaligya.
Hi everyone, I am Marvin Pescador and I am discussing the price of stock and volume of trading in the finance management. Stock prices and volume of trading are essential indicators in analyzing market and making investment trends decisions. So, what is price of stock? This refers to the value of company shares at which stock are bought and sold in the market. So, ang price of stock ay mo na siya ang company shares nga company shares nga kano siya into stock, like magpalit kag new stock sa imong company kay naka-gain na kag more money. So volume of trading, the total amount of shares that are bought and sold over a specific period. So ang volume kay ato na ni siya tanan, like gikuan na ni siya tanan, gisagol or gisubay na ni siya tanan. So here are the example of top gainers, top losers, and most active stock traded in the stock market. So mo ni siya diri sa kilid, ana ra nato makita ang mga active, top gainers ug mga losers nga mga corporation, mga companies sa here in the Philippines. So kung na siya over kanang year na magpagawas jud na sila kanang ranking. So next I will discuss is the SCE, or the Security and Exchange Commission. So SCE was established on October 26, 1936 by virtue of the Commonwealth Act number 83, or the Security Act. So what is the function of SCE? So SCE is the registration of securities, analysis of every registered security, and evaluation. So ang guys, so ang function sa SCE kay siya ang mag-register sa other securities. Yung like kuan siya diri mag-monitor, iyan ang trabaho, ang pag-manage or ang pag-secure. So next is the 2 additional commissioners and 2 departments. So kani sila kay mo siya ang prosecution, enforcement, supervision, and monitoring. So what is the role of SCE in our country or here in the Philippines? So SCE is to help to strengthen the corporate and capital market infrastructure in the Philippines. So ang SCE daw guys, siya ang mag-monitor, siya ang mag-corporate, and siya ang magkuhan sa like mga capital market here in our country. So let's start the trading schedule at the PSE. The trading schedule has morning and afternoon sessions. The morning session is from 9:30 a.m. to noon, while the afternoon session start from 1 p.m. until 3 p.m., including a 10-minute run-off period. The actual placing of order can start 30 minutes before the market opens or at 9 a.m. So, is a PSE a government agency? So, let's answer the question. Is a private, non-profit, and non-stock organization created to provide and maintain a fair, efficient, transparent, and orderly market for the purchase and sale of securities, such as stock, warrants, bonds, options, and others. So, ang kwan ko guys, ang Philippine Stock Exchange kay dili na siya non-government na siya, private na siya, non-profit and non-stock organization. So it means private, so walay labot ang gobyerno ana. Yes. So ang konsad ang PSE kay ga-maintain sana sila og fair and efficient, transparent and orderly market for the purchase and sale of securities. So right now I will discuss the unit of trading. So the trading unit as defined by NASDAQ is the number of shares of the security that is used as the acceptable quantity for trading on exchange. So examples of trading kay kanaging kanang imong gipalit ang usa ka butang then imong ibaligya ngadto sa lain. So di ba mas naka-gain kag profit or like pinangangkat ka o kanang baligya unon tas imong gibaligya ngadto sa lain. Like gibuhat sa mga negosyante diha sa merkado, ila ra nang inangkat then ila nang gibaligya. If gikan sila ngadto sa carbon, ila nang gipalit nga to ang mga product ikan sa carbon, barato pa na siya. Then if i-market na jud na siya diri sa city ay diri sa kuan sa atong lungsod or municipality, that is mahal na kay magkuan pa man na sila i-total pa man na tanan nilang gigasto like alam pamliti or other kuan para silang profit. So mo na siya ang example sa trading. Trading of shares shall be in terms of fixed minimum amounts of board lots. Method of trading. So double action market between buyer and seller. So ang kuan guys, auction kanang a sale of property to the higher bidder. So kanang imong butang gali nga mahalon din. Like imong butang nga unique or something luma na siya, then daghan ang nangitaan na then mo na imo na siyang ibaligya sa taas nga value. Yeah, mo na siya kanang mga auction like consider na siya card games nga mo na siya mga duwa sa mga dato like mamili sa mga unique nga butang like expensive. Yeah, kabantay mo na sa mga salida.
My topic for today's discussion is all about leasing. So what is leasing? Leasing is a type of financing that you are used for business assets. Leasing is an important source of financing na recognized na siya sa Pilipinas. There are more than 30 players in the leasing and finance industry. So, there are 3 leasing companies operating in the Philippines, the Ford Credit, PCI Leasings, and Japan PNB Leasings and Finance Corporation. Ford Credit. Ford Credit is the largest company in the world dedicated to automotive finance, saving more than 10 million customers in 4 countries. Ang Ford Credit Usa ni siya sa pinakadako nga kumpanya sa tibuok kalibutan. It is leading automotive financial service company. So, PCI Leasings and Finance Inc. Its principal business to provide leasing and financing product to commercial clients. So, ang PCI Leasing and Finance Inc., they provide leasings and financing product to commercial clients. The company's leasings product include direct leases. So, unsa man ang direct leases? There are example of direct leases. Ang example ani niya kay kaning nakapalit kang property nya imo dayon gipaabangan sa so imo siyang gi-invest nya naka-profit pagyud ka. Sales leaseback arrangement. So unsa man ni ang sales leaseback arrangement? Example ani niya is kanang nagbaligya kag property nya ang nakapalit sa imong property after long years kay gigamit atong nagbaligya. So imo siyang nagamit siyang balik sa property pero dili na iyaha. Japan PNB Leasings and Finance Corporation. This company is joint venture between the PNB and the IB Leasing Corporation Ltd Japan for the Mizuho Financial Group. So, ang Japan PNB Leasings and Finance Corporations, this company is a joint venture between the PNB and the IBG Leasing Corporation Japan of the Mizuho Financial Group of magsugod ang kini nga kumpanya pag 1998 and has assets more than 1 billion pesos. Lease defined. A lease is negotiated contract between the owner-lessors of the property allowing the firm, the lease, the use of the property for a specific period for a time of specific rental. Kaning leases is the party nga mogamit rather than the one who owns the lease property niya. Ang kaning lessor siya ang tag-iya sa lease property. So there are 4 types of leases. The financial leases, the operating lease, the sale and leaseback arrangement, and the net and gross lease. The financial lease, also known as a capital lease, is a type of lease arrangement where the person or company leasing the asset essentially finances the acquisition of the asset and assume many of the risks and rewards of ownership. The financial asset is a non-cancelable document that obligates the lease to provide periodic rental payment. The non-cancelability of the financial leases obligates the lease nga iya gihapong ipadayon ang bayad ang payment bisan pa man iya nagiabandon ang property. Operating lease. A leasing agreement where the lease use an asset for a shorter period without assuming ownership or responsibilities. Operating lease, also sometimes called service leases, is a kind of lease nga pwede ra makancel sa mogamit or moabang. It is a short term of lease used to finance equipment such as computer, railroad cars, or tankers. The term of operating lease kay nagdepende na siya sa economic life of the asset. Some lease offers the operating leases. Ang tenant pwede niya i-cancel ang leases kung naay mga problema like needed i-repair din ang mag-handle ana kay ang landlord or lessor. So ang sales back arrangement. Transaction involves a company selling an asset it owns to another party, the buyer, and immediately leasing that same asset back from the buyer. Sales and leaseback, we a firm own a asset niya gibaligya na sad sa lain then gigamit na sad ang property sa lahi nga tag-iya. Mao ni siya gitawag nga sale and leaseback. It is more than commonly used for real estate. Example ani si Ana, siya ang tag-iya sa yuta og balay pero nag-need siya og additional working capital. So mao to gibaligya ni Ana ang iyang yuta ug balay pero magsige gyapon siya og gamit sa property or building. Ang net lease and gross. In a net lease, the tenant lease pay not only the base rent but also a portion of the property operating expenses. Net gross and leases. Lease can either net gross under the net agreement and owners kay naa pa man siya mga expenses like taxes, repair or maintenance and insurance sa ang sobra ana mauna na ang iyahang Mao na ang iyahang net. Net less and gross. In a gross list, the tenant pays of fixed rent amount to the landlord, and the landlord is responsible for covering all property operating expenses. Basic lease provisions. A typical lease agreement contains of the following provisions. Lease period specific is the durations of the lease ranging from a day, e.g. car rental, to many years, property or less. The period over which asset is to be leased. Lease periods may vary from the 1 day nga abang sa car or sa pila ka tuig nga abang sa property. Rental payments outline the amount of the schedule of rent payments which is can be monthly, quarterly, and annually, or as agreed. The rental payment and the payment dates. Ang bayad sa abang na ay monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or timing depende sa sabot sa both parties. So, cost responsibilities. Assign responsibility for costs like taxes and maintenance to one of the parties. The assignment of responsibility to one of the parties for such associated costs like taxes and maintenance. So, security provisions include rules such as restrictions on the lease, financial actions like taking on more debt or paying dividends. Security provisions. So, escalation clauses allows the leasers to increase rent at predefined dates or response to rising costs during the lease term. Ang tag-iya ani pwede niya patasan ang rental payment sama anang naa siya'y gi-repair and it cost nga dako kayo siyag na gasto. Dayon option, some leases offer the lease that choose to renew the lease or buy the asset provide flexibility at the end of the lease term. Option, ang option dai kay it the option of the lease or ini sa moabang iya bang i-renew or i-purchase ang asset. Advantage of leasing. Flexibility. Flexibility leasing provides flexibility in terms of asset acquisition. Leases can obtain and use asset without the substantial upfront cost of ownership. Flexibility nagpasabot sa kakayahan sa pag-adapt sa mga nagbago or kahimtang o kondisyon sa financial.
Number 3. Piecemeal financing. Leases can secure assets on a piece-by-piece basis, allowing for more manageable and budget-friendly financing arrangements. Revenue-based financing is an example of piecemeal financing. Obtaining funds based on a percentage of future revenue, which allows for gradual repayment and flexibility in managing finances. A clear example of revenue-based financing would be a small business that receives funding based on its future revenues. Let's say a software company needs capital to expand but wants to avoid the constraints of a traditional loan. Instead, it enters into a revenue-based financing agreement with an investor. The next one is avoiding of debt restrictions. Unlike taking on a debt, leasing doesn't come with the same set of financial covenants and restrictions, providing leases with more financial maneuverability and freedom in their operations. There's one example of avoiding restriction accompanying debt could involve a company seeking alternative financing options instead of taking on a traditional bank loans. For instance, rather than a loan with a stringent covenants and restriction on how the funds can be used or managed, the company might opt for equity financing through venture capitalists or private investors. This approach could provide the necessary capital without imposing the same level of restriction or obligations commonly associated with debt financing, allowing more flexibility in managing business operations and investments. The next one is evasion of budgetary restrictions. Leasing can help organizations bypass stringent budget constraints because it doesn't typically require a large upfront cash outlay, making it easier to acquire necessary assets. So it's important to note that this action may breach ethical standards or even legal regulations, potentially leading to consequences if discovered. Maintaining transparency and adhering to established budget guidelines is crucial for financial integrity. Number 6 is cash paid for profitable investment. By avoiding significant initial asset purchases, leasing allows businesses to allocate their available cash towards more profitable investment, potentially boosting growth and returns. Examples, imagine sa company that has surplus cash setting either in low interest bearing account or in a division that not generating substantial returns. To optimize its capital, the company decides to reallocate this cash to a more promising investment opportunity. For instance, if the company operates in the technology sector, it might decide to divest a segment that's been underperforming or sell off low return investments and redirect the capital into research and development for a new innovative product line that shows high market potential. By doing so, they aim to use their available cash in a more lucrative way, focusing on initiative that's promise higher profitability and growth compared to previous nilang investment or stagnant divisions. The next one is possible tax advantages over ownership. Depending on the tax regulations, leasing arrangement may offer tax benefits that outweigh those of ownership, potentially reducing the lease's overall tax liability. So tax advantages over ownership could refer to situation where the benefits derived from tax saving strategies or structures outweigh the advantages of direct ownership of a certain assets or entities. Example, for instance, it's in real estate investment, an individual might choose to invest in a real estate investment trust rather than owning properties outright. REITs over tax advantages such as pass-through taxation, where income generated by the trust is not taxed at the corporate level but passed on to investors, who pay taxes at their individual rates. This might be more advantageous than direct ownership of properties, where the investor has to manage taxes at a different level, potentially subject to different rules and higher tax rates. And number 8, lease financing not on the balance sheet. Lease financing is often structured in a way that doesn't appear as traditional debt on a company's balance sheet. This can improve financial ratios and make the company more appealing to investors and creditors. So let's go to the disadvantages of leasing. For all the advantages brought by leasing, there are also disadvantages. Like example, long-term commitment. Some leases tie you to a long-term commitment, making it challenging to adapt, to changing business needs or technological advancements. Example of a long-term commitment is classic example of a long-term commitment through leasing is an agreement of commercial real estate. Imagine a company that signs a lease for office space for a duration of 10 years. This commitment represents a long-term obligation for the business. Even if the company needs change or its operations evolve during this period, it's bound by the terms of the lease, such as the rental amount and the duration specified in the agreement.
So that is the end of our discussion. I hope that you learned something new for this report. So if you have any questions, just ask us or contact us, the reporter, so that we can clarify and address your concerns. So have a blessed day. Thank you.